Hello, this is Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we are going to start a new series called Amazing Abstracts. And we all seem to know what abstract art is. We can look at it and people see different things. Different people see different things. And I looked up the definition of abstract, and it's very interesting. Abstract, existing in thought, but not having a physical or concrete existence. But you know, that's not quite true with abstract art, because it exists after we draw it or paint it or whatever we make it out of. It could be abstract in any kind of form. It could be from clay or wood or art on a canvas or on a piece of paper. But it doesn't look like, how should we think of this? It's not like we set out to draw a horse and we want it to look like a horse, or we will draw a dog and we want it to look like a dog, or we're drawing houses or trees. Abstract art is more shapes. It can be blobs, it's colors, it's lines, but we're not working so hard in making it look like a certain thing. This is one reason it's so great for someone who has a hard time drawing what they see in their head. Hey, with abstract art, you just take off and pick colors and lines and put them together, and it will be amazing what it turns out like, and you didn't have to struggle so hard trying to be perfectly real. And so much of art, we try to be perfectly real, and we get frustrated, and then we'll quit because we'll say, I'm not an artist. But you know, paint, draw your feelings, or just have fun, just throwing things on the paper and seeing what you can come up with. So we are going to start a series on abstracts. This is one I just threw together yesterday, and there was a point where I was very frustrated with it and thought it was very ugly. But by the time it was done, it has a certain amount of appeal to me now. And it made me realize that others besides myself could have fun doing abstracts. It does not matter your artistic level. Anyone can make abstracts. So, we are going to learn to draw one something like this, not exactly like this, today, and in the next part we will paint it. So you will need today, you'll need a ruler, and then a few interesting things. We're going to draw a lot of circles, and you can freehand those circles if you would like. But most of us aren't the greatest at good circles, and we like a little help. And here's what I suggest, that you go around the house and find lids to things. I have all sizes of lids. Medicine bottle lids. I think this came off of my fish food. This came off of salt. Threads make good circles. Or thread spools make great circles. If you have kids around the house, they might have some of these little foamy shapes, and a lot of those come in circles. See how many circles you can gather up. Now, we are going to start out on a piece of paper that is only 6 by 9, so you don't want anything really any bigger than, say, this one, which I'd say is about 2-3 inches. If you're lucky, maybe if you were in scrapbooking years ago, you may have bought one of these circle templates. And if you have one of these are great. But most of these are too big for my piece of paper today, although these would be great. So if you have those, I'd say dig that out. Or go to the office supply, and they will have templates of circles usually. If you have none of those, and if you have one of these, this will be great. A compass, what you used to use in math class at school. You can draw any size circle you want, up to what, 10 inches, a foot? If you're good with using a compass, just go for that. It will be the easiest way. In fact, that's what I used on these. But I think I want to try using my lids today and see how that comes out. Obviously, you'll need a pencil, an eraser, and we will need a pen. This is the Ultra Fine Point Sharpie. I love these things, but any permanent marker pen will do. Okay, there's one more thing then, besides yourself, that you will need, is a piece of paper. Now, I'm going to show the second part of this, and we will have watercolors. So I need to start out with watercolor paper. You could probably get by with mixed media paper if you want to try, but I won't guarantee that. If you're not going to use watercolors, but you're just going to use, say, colored pencils or crayons, you can probably get by with sketch paper. So the paper you use is entirely up to you. But if you have some watercolor and want to follow this all the way through, I'd suggest you just pick up some watercolor paper to use. All right, let's get started on the drawing of this. If you notice, I don't know if you can see this on camera, on this one, how crooked my line was here. And it would be hard to go in and match this color and straighten that out. I was very careless when I taped this down to my board yesterday. I just threw it on and put some tape on, and that does not look good. But there's a way to keep from doing that, and we will do that today. So let's nab our pencil. Hello! I am breaking in from the very next day that this video was made to give you a better way to keep from going over your white edges when you're drawing, inking, and painting. Instead of just making tiny little marks in your corners, use your ruler. You can eyeball about 1/4 of an inch, or if you have one of these see-through rulers, you can follow these inner lines and just lay your ruler down and draw clear across a solid line. And then you'll know not to draw, ink, or paint beyond that line. And it also gives you a good line to put your tape on. Just follow that line when you tape it. And then you will not do what I have done on most of my videos, because I'm an old lady and I forget things. I draw or paint over these edges, and then I have to go clean them up. And see, there we have a frame around our drawing, and it will work much better than the method I gave you in this movie. So I thought I would just jump in and let you know that there is a better way. So back to our video. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some lines. See how we had lines crossing things here? We are going to make those first. Now, don't draw too darkly. You will have to erase several of these lines, and the darker you draw, the harder they will be to clean up and not show through your watercolors. Now, I am going to do mine a little darker so that they show up here, but you draw them light. Your picture will come out a lot better if you draw them light. I want a set of lines that goes this way, and then I just wherever you want them, actually, just willy-nilly decide how you want to do that. And my ruler slipped a little bit there. I'll straighten that out. I think we'll do, this won't be exactly like the one I did yesterday, but you know, we don't want to do the same thing too many times, do we? Is that enough? No, I think we need one going this way. We'll see what it turns out like. Now we want to make these about 1/4 of an inch wide. So just come in with your ruler and eyeball these. You know, if you get too picky, the fun will go out of it. Now, if you're an architect and have to draw things exact, that's one thing. But this is not architectural drawing. This is an abstract that we are to relax and enjoy. And while we're having fun with it, we're also learning. We're learning how our watercolors react and work and how to lay them down. And we'll make mistakes, but we'll learn from them. And all the time, it will be fun. Here we go. See all these lines? I think that's about enough. If we have too many lines, then we won't have too much open area. And we do want to have some open area. This one kind of makes me think of space for some reason. I think because of this blue in the background, or maybe the ocean. Yeah. Okay. Next, we want to place our circles. So let's dig out some of these things we had here. We don't want to go over, we need to leave that 1/4 inch space around, so kind of eyeball that, unless you want your object to go over the edge and it just be partial. See, like this was partially there, and this was partially there. But your main objects you'll want to be within that space, underneath that 1/4 inch. So I'm going to place this about here, and we're not worrying about where our lines go. Again, remember, we're having fun with this. We're not being exact. In fact, we're going to let this turn out how it turns out. It will take on a life of its own. Let's do our other circle over in this area. What else should we do? This is a nice size. I do want this one just to go off the edge. That was my gear. We're going to really go different now than what I had there. I'm going to use my thread here. Do a circle here. How about a circle right in here? This foam is a little harder to go around because it's soft on the edges, but I think, oops, I think you can manage it. Alrighty. Now, I would suggest you grab your eraser at this point and erase inside your circles and get rid of these lines. Now, we don't have to be perfect in our erasing yet, because after we ink it, we'll give it another go-over. But get what you can here. Okay, I have part of it, most of it erased, not all of it, but I'm not worrying about these other lines right now. Now, if you notice, we had circles within circles. So let's get those placed next. My lid that I used for this big one here covers all of this. It covers my scallops. So the next line I need to make is one in here on the inner edge of the scallops. And I think this one would be pretty good for that. Now when you place your other lid, or your compass, whatever you're using, try to get it centered. It doesn't have to be exact, but the more centered, the better it will look to your eye. That's not too bad, I think. Now, I need one more circle in there. Do I want this one? No, I want something smaller than that. Go back to my medicine cap here. Right there. Right? Make our circle here. All right, and then on this one, I have a very small dark edge. I want to do that on this one, and I had to use one of these to get that. Which one was it? It's this one right here, I think. No? Let's try this one. None of those. All right. Alright, we want a small edge on this one, and I think it's going to take this black one, my salt shaker lid, try to see if all my edges are about even. Now let's see. Not too bad, not too bad. And over here, we need one in about there because we're going to turn this into a gear. Do I have one that'll do that? Now this might have to be a hand-drawn one. Let's check on here and see if any of these... Oh, this one will do it perfect. There we go. And we need one more circle yet here in the center. Let's see if this one will do it. Raise it up here where you can see it. Is this one good or is this one better? I think this one is good. Actually, let's do our thread. All right. Do we have all of our circles drawn in? I do believe. Now, before we ink this, we need to draw in the, is it cogs we call them, on our gear? So to do that, let's draw lines around these two circles here to make our cogs. So just move around this. Don't worry about these being exact. It's amazing what the human mind will fill in if we don't put it in. Sometimes we try to put in too much. Now, pick one of these and just do the outer edge, and you'll come in like that. See how the cogs of our circle start to appear? Okay, now to do the rest of that, I'm just going to wait and do that with my ink pen. Is that all we need to do at this point? No, it's not. Let's put our inner lines in here with our ruler. Now, these are extra lines. If you notice in these, we had straight lines in between these two. So let's put those in. And again, just eyeball this. I would use my ruler. You don't have to if you would like to just eyeball those in. Make them any width you want. And now we have some to go across this one. Oh, we had another circle in there. I missed that. What should we use for that? I think this one. Well, let's go back and add that circle. And you know, you can add things wherever you want. This is your amazing abstract after all. All right, now we're going to make lines going this way on this amazing abstract. One way to get your lines fairly straight is to line up the end of your ruler with your paper. And that should give you a fairly straight line, if you're lucky. I love these plastic see-through rulers, and they're not that easy to find. If you find them, I would suggest you grab it, because these are great for art. Because you can see through them. And they're very thin and just easy to use. It's my favorite ruler. I really love my T-square too, but we aren't going to use the T-square today. There we go. Let's see. Anything else we need to do before we ink it? I kind of like this squiggle that I had on this one, so I'm going to add that onto this, just a curvy line. Now, before we ink, we need to make our scallops. So come up here between these two outer rings, circles, and make a set of scallops. Now you don't have to. You can leave that as it is if you want, or put a different design in there. You can make any kind of design you want. There is all of our scallops. Now don't worry about all these other little dots and lines that's in here. We add a lot of these during and after the painting process. So let's see, have we got everything this time? Do we want this little windmill down here in the corner? You know, I'm not too crazy about that shape. So if we want actual circles like this, though, we do probably need to draw some of those in. Let's draw a circle right here. Freehand that one, unless you can find something that small. Okay, that one will do. And I think I'm going to fill this with dots or big circles. Some more freehand circles. And over here, we had a box in the inner ring, which is kind of interesting. So maybe we'll go ahead and put that in. Just like that. More like a rectangle, isn't it? There we go. That's not quite straight, is it? Let's straighten that up. Now, I think we're ready to ink. So take your Sharpie or whatever kind of permanent marker you have, do a very fine point on this, and let's ink it. Now this is going to take some time, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this and be back with you as soon as I have it inked. All right, we have our picture all drawn and inked and ready to paint in our next video. I hope you've enjoyed this, and yeah, it doesn't look so great right now if you look at that picture and say, but wait till you start adding all the colors and the dots and the lines, and pretty soon you're going to love it. So I will see you in our next video with our paint. Bye-bye for now.